Welcome back to the KFiles. Today we are looking at bad fathers in Miracle Man. Thank you for joining us here in the lush basement office once again. I'm your host, Katie Moeller.
And I'm your co-host, Rosalia.
And we are coming to you from HollywoodRedux.com. Subscribe below if you haven't already. We're talking about Miracle Man today on the show.
Very good episode indeed.
Yeah, I like it.
Dude, I'm so excited we're doing the season 1.
Season 1. We've been hanging out here for a few episodes now.
So far, I have not been disappointed, so...
No, I love it. I think in a wholly different way than any other season, it is so serious and real, and the characters feel as if they, live and breathe off the screen, and they're having these real relationships that are enacting change on them. That's really what the first season showed us for the first time.
I can see why people like the XFiles got a fan base. I definitely understand why now.
Yeah, it was like a coherent Twin Peaks, really.
Yeah.
No, I mean it has all the atmosphere of a Twin Peaks, and you get the sense that there's all this invisible world going on all around all the time. You feel that on the show, and especially in the first season, you felt it for the first time. You felt it, and then also it's just written so well that the characters change and grow, and you really do feel that they are living, breathing figments of some world. Entities of world.
Very well said, Katie.
The truth is already here. We say it often. So what did you think of the episode?
All right, well, where do I begin? First of all, let's talk about that creepy kid that we see in the very beginning of the episode.
Baby Samuel.
Bringing back the dead, apparently. It's a casual thing. Why not?
He's such a chipper little bird, just being like, I'm the Tishbit Blair, come back to life, dead body. He's really cute. He grew up to be very bitter. That cute little kid. He's like a South Park.
You nailed that, by the way.
And he brought the burned man back to life. The man who... we see the burned man a lot on the X-Files. The burned man is a symbol on the X-Files. I'm sure it has mythical connotations that we could look at. But it's a monster of the week, so we're just going to look at the mythology of the show. And the burned man comes back... the burned man that I'm thinking of comes back in the 8th season in an episode called Empedocles. And he is a soldier of... I don't want to call it evil, because it's something that is older and more intelligent somehow. Something that has, more intelligence a little bit. Or maybe it's no intelligence. Maybe it's so primal that it's beyond intelligence. See, it's unknowable. That's the hard part of talking about it. But the burned man is somebody who thought they saw it and they got it wrong. That's the burned man plays with fire and he gets burned. That's the burned man. Mulder's afraid of fire. We did Fire recently on the show. We're talking about Fire.
Really good episode, which you should definitely check out, by the way.
Yeah, and and what's funny is we talked all about that episode about Scully was profiling Phoebe Green in addition to the main character played by Mark Sheppard, the monster. But she's also profiling Mulder too, where she's talking about somebody who maybe just that Mulder was asking the question about himself, was like, is that me? Is Phoebe like me? Am I like her, I guess would be more accurate. Am I somebody who's so maladjusted that I use for Phoebe, she was using she was manipulating, but Mulder maybe uses the X-Files as a way as an excuse not to talk to people, not to interact with people. So he's asking that question about himself, but Scully answers and Scully is like the solver of all problems. Scully gives him the validation and she...
Seems like she usually is, though.
She is. She's the Starbuck. She is the true north. She takes us where we need to go. Sometimes she doesn't even know why or where, but she always gets us there.
She'll find a way. Doesn't matter.
So this episode, the monster is a monster of the week, and the monster is this guy Samuel Serves. Or Samuel Saves. No, that's what it is. Samuel Saves, because Jesus saves.
Creepy little kid, man. Just
Well, so he grew up to be a pretty moody, a young adult.
Yeah, so much for helping people.
Yeah, you get he was compared to Moses. Mulder tells a story of how he was found. He, came to that guy in the reeds like Moses. So he's compared to Moses. He's compared to Jesus. But the story of Moses is a coming of age story, like maybe the original coming of age story, I guess. The Old Testament's pretty. I mean, it's old. Old's in the title. Moses comes of age. He has to overcome the pain of his adopted parents in order to move forward with his own destiny. Is one maybe version of how you could read that. And so Moses in this story is Samuel, and Samuel has to reckon whatever he has pain about regarding his father, or fathers, I should say, because the burned man is there also. He's like the man behind the man. So you have the bad fathers in this episode is Samuel's adopted father, and then the man behind the man, the burned man, who's whispering in the ear, and of course is actually the bad guy in all this. He was the guy in the very beginning of the episode who was dead and was brought back to life. He was the miracle, but he didn't see it that way, and so it wasn't for him. It was death.
Yeah, it seemed like it was more like a burden than anything.
That's one of the biggest truths of the X-Files, is that you can have the milagro, or you can kill, you can destroy, or you can create. It's a choice. And sometimes you don't think it's a choice, and you realize too late. It always, like Milagro, that writer, it's too late. He knew in his heart, he didn't have love, so he had to destroy himself. He had to immolate himself. Another burned man goes into the fire. There you go. See, we're finding him all over. He's an important symbol in the X-Files, and he's frightening whenever you see him. Whenever you see the burned, cracked flesh, you know that pain. It's the pain that Samuel feels, that he talks about.
You say compared to Moses, but like just thinking about the episode in general right now, I feel like it was more compared to Jesus himself, just because of the wrapping around his hands and like.
Yeah, for sure. He's meant to be Christ-like figure. Well, he was as an adopted child. He's performing miracles. He's like Jesus too. He gets beat up in prison by the guards, who are associated. Was unexpected. They're associated with Satan. Did you notice all of the stars really look like pentagrams?
Yeah.
And right before he gets beaten up in prison to his death, he gives that little look at Mulder and says, like a trick of the devil, and he summons the devil. That's what we're talking about, is that you make it what you will. So you have a gift, and you make of that gift what you will. The burned man sees no gift, and so he has no gift. In fact, what he has is nothing, is ash, is death. That's all he has in the end, is death. A very sad, alone death that no one understands. Don't do that. Don't be the burned man. Find understanding. Find the meaning. If you don't think it's a gift, then maybe you need to change your premise. That's one of the biggest truths of the X-Files, is what we're talking about. You're talking about, Christ-like things. The coming of age of Christ was, you might say, the Easter story. You might call that coming of age. And so Samuel goes through that process too. He had a testing of his faith. He muddied the waters of his faith. So the only way, you can't cleanse faith. That's not like something you can do, but you can die and say goodbye to that part of yourself that is, whatever you think of that part of yourself that's muddied or whatever. You can have that part of you die, and then you can transform. And that's, Samuel did it maybe in the episode. We see evidence that he is now has been reborn a second time. I mean, that's a truth of the X-Files, is that we as people, it's not magic. It's something that humans innately possess. Scully shows it. It's the Milagro. You have the power to die and be reborn. You have the power of transformation. You can live twice. I have the power to die and live again. That's the one of the truths of the X-Files, is that like you can always go on. There's no real destruction. That even the burned man sees it that way, but that's not true. That's not true for anyone but him, unfortunately for him.
I would also like to, I know you're talking about like Sammy and everything, and I would also like to point out Mulder's kind of struggle throughout the episode, seeing his little sister like throughout, and how he would keep chasing her and just like making sure that he wasn't seeing things and she was actually there. But so that I really like that. And the little girl was really creepy.
Yeah.
She nailed it. She didn't even have to say anything.
That's something that people see in dreams as a little girl. Usually she's in a white dress. Usually she's in... No, she's not scary. Usually she's in a white dress.
Katie,
she's in a red dress. Something's wrong. Well, something was wrong. The faith was muddied.
Right.
So she was in a red dress. She was trying to tell Mulder something about himself and his sister that was part of... But it was coming from Samuel. That's the thing. Samuel was the main character, so it was all about Samuel. Everything that happened had to do with him. Mulder's sister showing up was just a part of their interaction, but it was coming from Samuel. Samuel was showing Mulder a pain in him. He was trying to communicate, I think.
I appreciated that a little bit, though.
He was trying to show Mulder his pain, which was the pain of a loss without atonement. Mulder's sister is gone, and we don't know what happened to her, so Mulder can never heal. It's a wound that just keeps being hurtful to him. That's what Samuel was trying to tell him about, was that if you don't atone, if you don't heal and move on, then the little girl will always be wearing a red dress. But you can put the girl in the white dress. You can set her free, even, to wear whatever dress she'd like to wear. But it's in him. It's in your own person. You have to look inside and find what that means to yourself. And that's what the X-Files is trying to show, is that your life is your story, and you have to accept your story, or else you won't learn anything from it. You have to accept the story of the X-Files in order to learn its
life lessons
value.
From the X-Files, you guys.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And you better believe Samuel walked off into the sunset a new man, so to speak, with that perspective, understanding that. I'm sure he learned that in order to transform, that was what he had to perceive to move on about himself. Because you could see that, what he was in pain about was that he had bad fathers who told him a lie. He was wearing jewelry. He was using his gifts for money. He was charging those people to help them. And that's wrong. And he knew that. And he had been twisted by his parents to think that that was okay. But he knew on some level he couldn't. So he had to, you know what Jesus did to the bankers in the Bible. He was not pleased with them.
Yeah, no.
Samuel had to understand that truth in his own life, and he had to die to it, and then be reborn in a new form that knew that lesson. And that's what the Mulder and Scully are doing all the time on the show, is they're learning lessons via the episodes, which are dreams, which are questions that they are asking about themselves, their world, their relationship, the X-Files, everything. Well, that's all for Miracle Man. Many miracles were manned. All right. That's it for the KFiles. I'm your host, Katie Moeller. You can find me all social medias at KMoles.
And I'm your co-host, Chrysalia, and you can find me at Chrysalia.
And we're coming to you from HollywoodRedux.com. We have a lot of other great content. We have a video game podcast called Infinite Grenade Launcher, and a movie review podcast called The Writer's Room, which we are also on.
Surprisingly.
I mean, no surprise there.
No surprise, just kidding.
We also have a lot of great shorts and sketches that are going to be rolling out throughout the summer months. You must stay with us. Stay tuned.
So please subscribe below.
Subscribe below. Hit like. There are lots of activities you can be doing right now. You don't even need to be listening. You could actually be commenting. You could be asking questions. Like, you could be telling us what you thought about Miracle Man. You could be answering this trivia question. What is the name of the actor who played Samuel in the episode? Comment below if you know the answer. Don't Wikipedia it. Find it a different way. I'm saying, use other sources. Like a librarian.
I love the
challenge. Are you still listening? Subscribe. Like. Thank you. That's all. We're going to be going now. Remember, find the truth.